This video is dedicated to all you lovely female support players out there and Artifact, of course. Let's go ahead and jump in the tier list doing it right, starting out with 𝐒𝐿𝐂𝐂. He belongs in the D tier. He has very low AP damage compared to other AP casters in the bot lane, such as Brand, Fid, Veigar, or 𝐒𝐿𝐂𝐂. And he doesn't scale the best, and his level 6 power spike is relatively weak. He belongs here. Next up, we have Bard. You could easily place him in A tier or even high A tier. However, Bard takes a relatively high amount of skill in terms of his macro. His micro is relatively easy, but in terms of his macro, he plays a lot more like a Pantheon. For that reason, we're going to put him in the one tricks because you need to know when to roam and how to assert lane dominance since he doesn't scale the best. Next up is a long forgotten menace on bench the 𝐒𝐿𝐿. He received a flurry of nerfs a couple of patches ago, making him crappy as a support because it put his Devour on such a long cooldown when devouring a teammate, and it also made him slow whenever he devours a teammate as well. For that reason, as a support, he is not very good right now. We are going to be putting him in the C tier. There are much better melee support options at the moment. One of those being Nautilus in the God S tier, arguably the best support right now in just about every single elo. His early, mid, and early late game are insane. He has really high base damages, really easy to land hook, extremely tanky, and can utilize Aftershock very well with just his passive, just by autoing you. Amazing champion, highly recommend it for anyone who's looking to pick up some free low as support. Matching him up with another hook support, we have Thresh. Following him up, he's essentially a worse version of Nautilus. Yes, Nautilus doesn't have the lantern, but Nautilus has much higher base damages and all-in potential. And then we have Blitzcrank. He has received a lot of buffs, but it's just not enough. He's very mana hungry champion, and if he misses his pull, he has essentially no lane pressure. We are gonna have to put him behind Thresh. I would recommend playing these two hook supports over him in general. Also very tempted to put these two in the one tricks category, but for the sake of this video, we're gonna go ahead and avoid it. Next up, we have a true stinker, and that is Yuumi. A lot of you think she's OP, a lot of you know the truth, and the truth is Yuumi is half a champion. Currently, Yuumi really is 0.5 champion. Until Riot gives her some significant buffs, she will stay around the D or C tier, so we will set her in the D tier. Do not pick her. You'd be much better off going with a Lulu or a Lux. They have much higher base raw damage for all-in fighting. Yuumi is just an awkward AFK support that uses the excuse of just sitting on your ally to not actually help with her crappy abilities. Next up, we have Lulu. She is in A tier. Amazing funnel champion and just really good if you are playing her as a traditional support, if you do have a hyper carry AD carry. Following up Lulu, we have Janna. Janna is going to go right there. She fills a very similar role, but she's not quite as strong as early as Lulu is, and you can argue that in the true late game, Janna is better than Lulu at peeling. Next up, we have Nami. Nami belongs either in front or behind Janna. It just depends. It's very close. For the sake of this video, we will put her behind Janna since she is more difficult to play correctly. Janna can be played a lot more passively, but if Nami, if you don't pressure the enemies with your W's at all, then you're just losing out on a massive part of her power. Following up these A-tier shielder e-girl supports, we have Karma. Her abilities just aren't there right now. She belongs in the mid-low B tier. Next up, let's look at some Mage caster supports. These are amazing if you are trying to pull yourself up by your bootstraps as a support main and climb elo. Brand isn't doing too hot right now. He's very strong whenever Dark Harvest is strong, but since Dark Harvest is in a bit of a weird spot, he isn't ideal, so we are going to stick him in high B tier. Next up, we have Zyra. She is a much better version of Brand at the moment with more consistent CC and a better initial leash for her jungler, so we are going to be setting her in the high A tier. She's arguably the best AP support caster to play. In terms of an AP caster slash support hybrid, the best one at the moment is definitely Lux. Let's set Lux right here. She is amazing if you're looking to do one shots and also give your team some insane shields. She does have a very particular playstyle though, and she is definitely not for everybody. And then we have Taric, truly outrageous, extremely situational support. He's only good if both teams are playing for teamfight based comps. If the enemy team has split pushers, Taric isn't that great. He's not good at matching a split push, and he's made for 5v5s. For this reason, we are going to put him in the one trick since he is also very awkward to play in laning phase. I wouldn't recommend just picking Taric out of the blue. If you wanted to play a tank melee support out of the blue, you should probably be playing Alistar, who we are going to have to put in. Oh, this is a tough one. Let's go ahead and set Alistar right here. Alistar has amazing pick and carry potential. Just rush boots of mobility for your first item and look for some juicy roams whenever you are leaving base or whenever you have your lane shoved in. He's amazing in low and mid elo for this reason because people don't respect it. Even in high elo, he's still a solid pick. Next up, we have 𝐒𝐿𝐾𝐒, another tank melee support. The issue with him is his CC isn't as consistent as these other melee supports. Not only that, but 𝐒𝐿𝐾𝐒's W can be countered very easily just by flashing towards your turret. Once he starts his W, he can't cancel it. So if he's coming at you, if you flash or dash near your turret, you basically got yourself a free kill. For this reason, we are going to have to leave 𝐒𝐿𝐾𝐒 in the C division behind Master Kench. I know you guys were waiting for this one, the final hook support. Pike has sure fallen a long ways. Back when you could play him as a tank support using Aftershock, he was top of the tier at S. However, they have changed him to scale off of lethality, and lethality items aren't too good right now. Whenever lethality items are good, he will be OP, but for now, we are going to have to set him in low A tier. In fact, we're going to put him in the one tricks category, but in general, he is A tier, but he does take a lot of games. He has a steep learning curve and a general quirky champion to play. Next up, we have Sona, plays very similar to the Lulu, Janna, Nami, except Sona has really low base health. Not only that, but she takes a long time to scale. She is a at least 2 item champion before she can start getting out some real value. I do not recommend her unless you have a very easy laning phase. If you do have an easy laning phase, she is high A, low S. If you do not have an easy laning phase, then she is a high B, low A. So we are going to actually set her right here for now. And then we have the old man carpet bomber, Zilean. He is an amazing support with his ultimate mechanic. You can completely shut down team fights as long as you have a hyper carry on your team. Someone who can do insane damage, whether it be a Jinx, Kai'Sa, Tristana. You get the point, or even if it's a top laner such as Aatrox, you need big damage, otherwise your ultimate has no impact. Throwing it down on a low damage person isn't going to add anything to your team, so for that reason, if you have hyper carries, he is, he's an S. If not, he is a BA, so we'll set him right here. That's a very fair spot for Zilean. And then we have Shen. He is extremely niche. You can't pick him in every matchup, but he does really well against auto attack based supports since he counters it really hard with his circle mechanic where he blocks all auto attacks. He's also very good against traditional AD carries because of this reason. Plays really well with all-in AD carries because of his taunt. Things like Draven he plays really well with because of his taunt. We are going to be setting Shen right about here in the B tier, or we would put him under the one trick since he is kind of weird to play as a support. He does offer quite a bit. I really wouldn't recommend picking him though unless you have high confidence in your AD carry since he is highly team reliant. If you don't have confidence in your AD carry, please just pick a mage support or a tank support that can roam with Mobies. Next up, we have Poppy, the crap lord. She's not good. She hasn't been good as a support for a long time. We'll set her here in the D tier in front of Shaco. And then we have Soraka. She is the best healing support right now. She is not better than Lulu. However, in my opinion, she is much better than these two, at least on average. In the true late game, she falls down quite a bit, but in the early mid game, she is easily right here. Rakan is a support I want to be excited about, but they have nerfed a lot of his speeds and base damage, making his all-ins not that threatening compared to a hook support such as Nautilus, Thresh, Splits, and Pike. For that reason, I wouldn't really want to put Rakan any higher than low A tier at the highest or high B tier, and he is relatively tricky to play, so we'll just set him in the one tricks area, but in front of Shen, but behind Pike. And actually, let's pull Taric. This is a tough one. Let's put Tarek right here. Yeah, we'll leave Bard right there. He's the best. And then we have Fiddlesticks, really easy support to play. You don't have to one-trick him to be good at him, but right now, as a support, he's pretty damn strong. Consistent CC, insane counter to Evelyn jungle with either your Fear or your Silence. You blow up her whole combo, and Evelyn doesn't take cleanse, Evelyn doesn't build QSS. Pick Fiddlesticks support against Evelyn, you won't be sorry. I'm talking to you, Artifact. Don't think I forgot about that time you ghosted me on stream. I remember that. We are going to be putting Fiddlesticks up near A tier. Also, he counters Master Yi really hard. Just press Q and Master Yi runs away at full speed. He's high A tier or low S tier. Let's go ahead and just set him right here. He's kind of situational. He's an awkward AP caster, but with the amount of utility, amount of counter picks he has, he is a really interesting support. I highly recommend you give him a try. He also has really good roaming potential once he is level 6. Just roam from base or roam once you have the lane pushed in. You can get off some nasty kills and ganks. Then we have Veigar. He is a better version of Brand in low elo in my opinion, because people walk into the cage. In higher elo, he is a much worse version of a Brand or Zyra. For that reason, we'll set him right here in front of the Karma, but behind the Brand. And then we have Neeko. Don't play her as support. We'll just leave her right here. She's not good. She does have some CC and decent damage, but her scalability is just not there to make up for the fact of how weak her kit is overall. So as a support, that is a no-go. Please don't do it. And then we have Galio. I've seen people have wild success with him. He has fairly consistent CC in the way that an Alistar does. However, as a whole, his win rate is dog shit. For that reason, I am tempted to put him in the one-trick category, because I do feel like he is fairly difficult to play since people have wild success with him, but his overall win rate is crap as support. And then we have Leona. As a melee support, she's actually relatively strong right now. She's around the range of an Alistar, yet she is arguably a little bit easier to play. It just depends on your preference. We could either put her in front of or behind the Alistar. Right about there, it looks good. And then we have Morgana. She used to be a lot better. They've been hammering her with nerfs since her rework. So she is going to be suffering a little bit and is mildly situational. In high elo, she is an S. Like honestly, in high elo, low S, high A. However, if you are mid-low elo, you can't really rely on your carries as much. She's just an A tier around this area. And then we have Braum. He's one of the weaker melee supports right now. I don't quite understand it. His win rate's not that great, and people aren't really picking him anymore either. So we can't put him up too high, but he does have really good peeling and tanking potential. However, he doesn't have the same roaming or ganking potential as an Alistar or these other 3 hook supports. For that reason, we're going to set him... Oh, you know, I got to put him in front of Karma. Not putting him in front of Karma would be a crime. We'll set him right there. That's a fair spot. And then Xerath. He is very similar to the Bran or 𝐒𝐿𝐿𝐿. The issue with the Xerath is he runs out of mana much faster, and his damage isn't quite as consistent as the Bran or the 𝐒𝐿𝐿𝐿. For that reason, I'm going to have to put 𝐒𝐿𝐿𝐿 right here. And then I'm going to have to put Xerath around here in the C tier. Very tempted to put him into the one tricks. And this concludes our support tier list. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree with any of my picks? Remember guys, depending on your elo, this tier list could be a little bit different. Sona might be here in your elo, but for someone else she could be here. Or for that matter, picking Yuumi in your elo might be D or it could be C. So give it a little bit of leniency and use it as a guide of, in general, what to pick. So basically, try not to pick any of these C's and D's. The B's are fairly situational. The A's are pretty much almost always good. And the S's are 90% of the time great picks. And then of course the one tricks, please try not to play them unless you are one tricking them or unless you have heaps of experience on them at least, since they are relatively difficult to make proper use out of. And that is going to conclude this video. Don't forget to smash that like button, comment, and subscribe. My name is KingStix. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.